Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 19, and finally, we are getting into the meat of this season. This felt like an actual progression, an actual story arc is going to be happening. This should carry out for the rest of the season. The only downside to this is we're only going to be getting 7 episodes of this My Villain arc, or My Villain Academia arc. I believe they worded it as the title for the next episode. I was kind of hoping it would be longer than that. This is a section, from what I've been told in the manga, that everybody seems to generally love. They love how it describes all of the villains, what they're doing, everything that's happening, and I feel like at the very least we should have got the second half of the season be all of this. And it's not. So I mean, it's a blessing and a curse in which these next episodes of the season are going to be the best of the season. It definitely can't be any worse, that's for sure. However, it's not going to be as long as we want. So a lot of people, I think, are going to end up getting disappointed. I think certain things are going to feel a little rushed. This episode did feel, compared to the rest of the season, the way it's been going, it was a good episode, but it did feel kind of out of nowhere. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere. They introduced us to a new character that we never even heard of before. There was zero mention of it. I feel like they could have done a little bit better introducing them. But at the same time, we did have a general idea that this was going on in the background. But let's just kind of start from the beginning and work our way there. So all the students are done with their work study. You know, they're back in the dorms, getting ready for their last 3 months of the first year. So yes, it has been 5 seasons, and we are not even through the first year of school yet. There are 3 years for them, and they are almost done. Well, 3 months being a first year. So based on that, there's another 3 seasons before we get into their second year. Something along those lines. That's my guess. Anyway. We get to see Uraka. They're all in like a locker room. They're changing into their hero uniforms, as you can see from my thumbnail and the image that will be on the screen. They're talking in there, and then you see Uraka drop a cute little All Might figure, which I believe is something that she gave to Deku, or Deku gave to her, vice versa, during the Christmas episode. I don't fully remember it. And then Mina remembers it, and she gets all happy and giddy. She was like, "Ha! I knew you two liked each other." And it was pretty cute and innocent, and you know, kind of that romantic relationship going on. It's nice to see them. But being a shonen anime, don't expect them to actually act upon those feelings, besides just random subtle hints, until like the very end of the series, because that just seems to be how they like to do things. You know, you can't have a love interest in there because it'll get in the way of the main story, even though a lot of other animes have figured out how to do it. But I'll leave that there. Moving on, Kurogiri. If any of you actually remember who Kurogiri is, he is the warp portal guy. You know, he can just teleport people anywhere. I feel like it comes out of left field. Apparently, he is a Nomu. Doesn't look like a traditional Nomu, so nobody really kind of expected it. Definitely threw me off that he was in fact a Nomu. Was not expecting that in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. But yes, in fact, he is a Nomu, and he is brainwashed completely. And Maru Shigaraki, so missing my names up here, caretaker. But he just wants to make sure he's okay. He's kind of they basically brainwashed this Nomu into being a glorified babysitter, is the best way to describe it. He's kind of Shigaraki's guardian. However, we learn that Nomus are always a base of a human. And we learn that through DNA testing that he is actually Oboro Shirakomo, and he was a student and classmate with Eraserhead, so you know, Aizawa, and President Mike, Hashiya Yamada. I'm probably butchering his name. I'm just going to call him President Mike, or Mike. And they were like this trio of people. So they were together, they were very close friends, and Mike is freaking out the entire time. Aizawa is kind of freaking out as well, but not as much. And it's kind of crazy because we learned that he actually died. So Obaro actually died in some sort of work study accident with a collapsed building. So that basically means that All for One or somebody in that organization took a corpse or switched out the corpse because there was a quirk they liked and traits they liked, or reanimated the body like Frankenstein, and created him into Kurogiri, completely brainwashing him of anything relevant to any of his past memories, to completely try to lock those away, completely get rid of them. And now he is Kurogiri. He is the caretaker of Shigaraki, and that's it. So what they do by bringing Aiwazawa and Mike in is they plan on using their past friendship in order to try to unlock some of those locked memories. Because even if he is dead, theoretically he is still in there. His memory should still be in there. And we learned that he was chosen to be Shigaraki's bodyguard because at one point there was a kitten. Aiwazawa noticed that there was a kitten. He passed it, didn't think anything of it, but Obaro picked it up, took care of it, was very protective of it. They liked that ability, and then they liked whatever this kid's quirk was, which I'm guessing had something to do with portals. We don't know, the full background of his story and what his actual quirk was, but I'm guessing it had something related to do to portals. But based on how Nomu's could have multiple quirks, it's a possibility that they just combined a bunch of stuff in order to get him that portal quirk, which is a very useful quirk indeed. Aiwazawa obviously had to use his eraser abilities in order to stop him from doing anything, and you can see the brain waves, brain activity kind of jumping off the charts. And he did actually say hospital at one point in time. So they were able to get through a little bit, not a lot. I'm guessing it's something where we're going to see meetings with him again in the future, get some more information about him in the future as well, who he actually was as a person, what his actual quirk was, his abilities were at the time. But all we know is hospital. So what we figured out is there is some hospital somewhere where we see this crazy scientist guy that we've seen at the beginning. He was actually the same doctor, I believe, that said that Deku was never going to get a quirk as well, if you remember that from the beginning. We know that he's working with the League of Villains. We know that he's the one creating the Nomu, as we have seen previously. And we see him in a hospital working with Shigaraki. There is some sort of giant electrical tube thing. We see Shigaraki how he was before, with the white hair, everything going on there. And I'm guessing he is now becoming a Nomu as well, because we know he has the abilities to create Nomus. We know he has the ability to create very human-like Nomus, so maybe he's just been, getting his abilities better and better and better to the point where he can infuse Shigaraki with all these different abilities, all these different quirks, and probably make him a lot worse, a lot more powerful, a lot stronger than he was. I'm guessing that's where we're going with this. I mean, it looked like he was the one that single-handedly blew up a building in previous episodes, so I'm guessing that that's where this is all heading to. Moving forward to the My Villain arc, it looks like they kind of were going back in time a little bit, because based on the next episode, it looks like he has his regular hair color back, the gray hair color as opposed to white. All for One's bodyguard, Gigantium, I believe is his name. He shows up out of nowhere as well. Then we got to see Toga and Twice and everybody else in there. Hawks did make a very brief appearance in here. One of his agents reported hospital, so he might know where that actually is to destroy all of the Nomu. They even mentioned, why would you be creating these Nomu? And the point is that you can take a dead person, take their abilities that they had while they were living, put all these quirks into them, brainwash them, and completely control them. So why wouldn't an evil person want to do that when you basically have a giant dead body puppet you're controlling, and they follow every single order that you say? They even mentioned that the Nomu that attacked Endeavor, that he was some sort of underground street fighter at one point in time. So maybe he was promised, oh, we'll give you all these crazy cool abilities, but didn't realize what it actually interned and what actually happened to that person, that he ended up losing everything. Either that or he ended up dying in an accident and they're just grave robbing at this point, because it sounds like they can do that. The only thing I could think of is maybe Obaro wasn't completely dead, or maybe All for One has a quirk similar to Erie's, possibly, where he can like erase things or overhaul, where he can rewind things to a certain point in time where that person is still alive. I could see that being, that actually happening. Because I mean, they could go for the Frankenstein way. I don't know, but based on what we're seeing, it's the Frankenstein way at this point in time. But I'm gonna give this episode. This one's probably getting a 9 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving this one a 10 out of 10 is because of how kind of out of left field some of this was. I mean, yes, it was cool. All this information was great, but besides this episode, we had no idea of, as I was past, really, or present Mike's past. We had no idea that they were friends with this kid whatsoever. Maybe they should have, included that in a previous episode or something at some point in time. Kurogiri, just like kind of comes out of nowhere, I guess. It's like basically it feels like the bulk of this season has just been filler, minus kind of the Shoto arc. Todoroki family, that's definitely been some canon in there. But then it's kind of like we had like a My Villain, like a preview for it. I think it was like 10 episodes ago or something crazy. And it's like you would think they would start doing it after that fact, but no, they don't at all. And then it's just kind of like, here it is. We got 7 episodes left. Here you go. Now we're at 6 episodes left. So I'm hoping that the rest of this season is going to be amazing and great, and everybody's going to be loving it. And I'm hoping they don't make it feel super fast-paced and try to cram too much into that episode. In a worst-case scenario, give me a cliffhanger. That's fine. I want more of the My Villain stuff in the next season. We can do all of that, the first 10, 13 episodes of next season. I'd be perfectly fine with that. I don't think that's how it's going to go down, but it is what it is. We will leave it at that. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment what you'd like me to do for future anime and cartoon-related videos. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.